I never thought I'd bury my own father alive. Not literally, but in the cold, calculated way that only Wall Street vultures understand. The email hit my inbox at 8:47 a.m., right as I was stepping off the elevator into the glass fortress of Sterling and Associates, my heels clicking like gunfire on the marble floor.
Eva.
You're done before you start, it read, forwarded from an anonymous tip line, attaching forged emails that painted me as a corporate spy poaching secrets from my old firm, my father's fingerprints all over the metadata, if you knew where to look. That betrayal? It wasn't just a knife in the back, it was him twisting it while whispering, "This is for your own good, kiddo." But good? The man who'd raised me on lies. Who'd let me rot in juvie at 16 for his embezzlement scam. Thinking I'd stay loyal forever. Not this time. As the HR drone dragged me into that sterile conference room, cuffs of suspicion already tightening, I smiled, because Dad had no idea I'd been building my own trap for years. One pixelated receipt at a time. The air in that conference room smelled like stale coffee and desperation. The kind that clings to your skin long after you've scrubbed it off. I sat there, legs crossed, staring down the trio of suits across the table. Karen from HR, with her clipboard of doom, Tom the security chief, built like a retired linebacker who'd traded tackles for tasers, and Mr. Hargrove, the managing partner, whose hawkish nose twitched like he could smell blood in the water. My first day at Sterling and Associates. The pinnacle of my 7-year climb from barista to boardroom hopeful. And here I was, being dissected like a frog in high school bio. Eva Ramirez, Hargrove drawled, his southern drawl stretching the vowels like taffy. We pride ourselves on integrity here. This. He slid the tablet across the table, the screen glowing with those damning emails. This suggests you've been playing fast and loose with client data from your time at Apex. Care to explain why we'd hire a thief? I didn't flinch. Flinching was for the old Eva, the one who'd cried herself to sleep after Dad's business partners roughed her up to keep her quiet about the books he'd cooked back in '08.
No.
This Eva had lawyered up in her mind 1,000 times. Mr. Hargrove, I said, voice steady as the Hudson on a calm day. Those emails are as fake as a Times Square Rolex. And if you check the headers, page 3, right there they trace back to a VPN in Jersey. One my forensic guy says pings off a server owned by none other than Victor Ramirez Enterprises. The room went pin-drop quiet. Karen's pen froze mid-scribble. Tom's meaty hand hovered over his radio, like he was debating whether to call in the cavalry or just cuff me himself. Hargrove leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Victor Ramirez? As in your father? The consultant we just brought on for the merger audit. Bingo. Dad had weaseled his way into Sterling 2 weeks ago. All charm and Ivy League anecdotes, positioning himself as the grizzled fixer for their tech integration mess. I'd known the second I saw his name on the org chart, he wasn't here for redemption. He was here to finish what he'd started, bury me so deep I'd never claw out. Exactly, I replied, sliding my own folder across the table. Inside, printouts from a PI I'd hired on credit last year. Timestamps of Dad's logins to my old Apex account via a shared family cloud drive we'd never fully severed. He accessed my files months ago. Planted the seeds.
Why?
Leverage. Maybe. Or just good old-fashioned spite because I wouldn't co-sign his latest investment pitch. Hargrove flipped through the pages, his face turning the color of overripe tomatoes. This is explosive. If true, it implicates one of our own. It's true, I said, meeting his gaze. And I've got affidavits from 2 ex-colleagues at Apex who'll swear I was clean as a whistle. But if you want to fire me based on Daddy's tantrum, go ahead. Just know I'll be the one testifying in the inevitable lawsuit. And Victor? He'll be the star witness for the prosecution. That was the hook I reeled them in with. Not panic. Not please, just cold, hard leverage. By noon, Dad was escorted out in a cloud of whispers, his briefcase swinging like a noose. I got a week's paid leave to sort things out, which translated to me holing up in my Astoria walk-up, nursing a bottle of cheap Malbec and plotting the real payback.
See? This wasn't about the job.
That was just the spark. The fire? It started 17 years ago, in the sticky heat of a Queen summer. When I was 16 and Dad decided family loyalty meant taking the fall for his sins. Victor Ramirez, mid-level accountant at a construction firm. Charming as hell with his salt and pepper hair and stories of hitting it big in real estate. Mom had died 2 years prior, cancer, quick and cruel, and he'd been my anchor. Or so I thought. We're a team. Eva Bug, he'd say, ruffling my hair over breakfast burritos. You and me against the world. The world turned out to be a ledger full of falsified invoices. Dad siphoned $200,000 from the firm for a sure thing in Atlantic City slots and offshore stocks. When the auditors came calling, he panicked. Framed me. Planted kiddie porn on my school laptop. Nothing real. Just enough digital ghosts to make the feds bite. I spent 8 months in juvie, labeled a predator at an age when most girls were worrying about prom dresses. He visited once, through the plexiglass, tears in his eyes. It was to protect you, baby. They were coming for us both. This way, you get a slap on the wrist, and I fix it quiet.
Protect me?
I emerged at 17, tattooed with distrust, GED in hand, scraping by on night shifts at diners while he rebuilt, bouncing from consulting gigs to bar stools. I clawed my way into community college, then Fordham for finance, all while he hovered, begging for loans, dropping hints about one last score. I'd given him chances. Wired money when his business tanked. Even co-signed a lease once. But the juvie scars? They itched every time I saw his name on a caller ID.
Now.
At 29, with a corner office in sight, he'd tried to torch it all.
Why?
Last month's dinner at his cramped Rego Park apartment. Over lukewarm empanadas.
Eva.
This sterling gig, it's perfect. You get in. I audit from the inside. We flip some insider trades.
Boom.
We're set for life. I'd laughed it off. Told him no. Family first, right? He'd snarled as I left. Family.
The word tasted like ash.
That week off, I didn't sleep. I paced my one-bedroom, the walls closing in with yellowed photos of Mom smiling at Coney Island, Dad's arm around us both like he hadn't shattered it all. I called my PI, Marco, a grizzled ex-cop from the 104th Precinct who'd owed me a favor since I tipped him off to a Ponzi scheme in college.
Te diper. Marco.
I want everything, bank records, offshore shells, that merger at Sterling, and the juvie setup. Find the original files. He texted back within hours. On it. But, Eva, this rabbit hole? It's Wonderland dark. Your old man's got ties to some ugly players, Russian syndicates. Even. Ugly was fine. I'd gone ugly a long time ago. By day 5, the puzzle pieces clicked. Dad hadn't just framed me as a teen, he'd leveraged it. The protection story?
Bull.
While I rotted, he'd cut a deal with the feds, informant status for leniency, routing out a rival crew skimming construction bids. In return, a sealed record and a nod to keep quiet about my mistake. But the Russians? They never forgot. Whispers from Marco. Dad had double-crossed them too, pocketing kickbacks meant for Moscow.
Now,
With Sterling's merger involving a tech firm with Eastern European investors, he was circling back, trying to use me as bait or scapegoat. I booked a flight to Miami, his latest consulting base. A sun-bleached condo off South Beach. Not to confront. To observe. From a rental car parked across from the palm-lined lot, I watched him schmooze at a rooftop bar, all teeth and tans, arm around a woman half his age who looked bored as hell. My phone buzzed. Sterling HR.
Eva.
You're cleared.
And
We're pressing charges against Victor. Want in on the statement? I typed back. Absolutely. But charges were kid stuff. I wanted his empire, such as it was, to crumble from the inside. Touchdown in New York the next morning. Jet lag buzzing like bad espresso. My desk at Sterling awaited, piled with welcome orchids and a sticky note from Hargrove. Glad you're back. Let's talk promotion.
sweet.
But I waved it off. First things first, lunch with Dad. I texted him an olive branch. Heard about the mix-up. Water under the bridge? Dinner tonight? His reply. Knew you'd come around.
Kiddo.
7 at Carmine's. Carmine's, our old haunt in Little Italy. Red sauce and Sinatra crooning from the speakers. He arrived late. Thai askew. Smelling of cigar smoke and cologne that screamed midlife denial. The hugs. Awkward and bone-crushing. Eva Bug. You look sharp. Sterling treating you right. Like royalty. I lied, swirling Chianti in my glass. But Dad. Those emails.
Why?
He leaned in, eyes darting like a cornered rat. Misunderstanding. Jealousy. Maybe. Heard you were gunning for my spot in the audit. A chuckle. Forced. Fathers. Am I right? Protecting their turf. Turf. As if the man hadn't stolen my youth for his. I smiled, spearing a meatball. Speaking of protection. Remember that summer? The one that changed everything. His fork paused midair. Ancient history. Eva. Let's focus forward. This merger, big money. We could team up. There it was. The flip. From saboteur to suitor in a week. I nodded, playing along. Tell me more. Over tiramisu. He spilled. The merger with Eurotech. A $500 million deal laced with backroom handshakes. Dad's role? Cleaning the books, he winked. Translation: laundering funds from his old Russian ghosts through shell companies. And me? You handle the projections. I finesse the rest. 50-50 split. I feigned excitement, heart pounding like a bass line at a hip-hop show in the Bronx. By dessert's end, I'd snapped photos of his scribbled notes under the table, account numbers, contact names. Bait swallowed. That night, alone in my apartment, I forwarded it all to Marco.
Verify.
And leak it selectively. Start with the feds, then drip to the press. Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon with landmines. Dad thought he was reeling me in. He had no clue I was the one tying the noose. The leaks hit like a summer squall, sudden, drenching, and impossible to ignore. First, a blip on Bloomberg. Anonymous tip alleges irregularities in Sterling Eurotech merger. By lunch, CNBC was looping it. Talking heads in power ties speculating on insider sabotage. Dad called at 2:17 p.m. Voice a gravelly whisper.
Eva.
What the fuck? You see this? I was in a client meeting, pretending to jot notes on a pad while my phone vibrated like a trapped hornet. Just now, I murmured into my AirPods, excusing myself to the ladies' room. Marble sinks. Harsh fluorescence. Perfect for lies. Sounds bad. You okay? Okay? My name's not out yet, but it's circling. Those notes from dinner someone's got, Em. A pause. Heavy as lead. Was it you? The accusation hung there, raw and ragged. Part of me, the kid who'd once believed in his bedtime stories, flinched. But the woman in the mirror, with her sharp bob and sharper eyes, just arched a brow.
Me? Dad. Come on.
I'm the one who got you that intro at Sterling. Remember? If anything, I'm pissed. This tanks my promotion track. He bought it. Or at least pretended to. Right?
Right.
Sorry.
Kiddo.
Paranoia. Meet me tonight? We gotta strategize. Can't. Late pitch.
Lie.
I had a date with my laptop and a VPN of my own, cross-referencing Marco's latest dossier. Dad's Miami condo? Leased under a shell called Vic Fam Holdings, ironic, given how little family factored in. And the Russians? Not just whispers. A name. Dmitry Volkov, ex-KGB turned oligarch, who'd lost $2 million to Dad's double dip a decade back. Volkov's crew was stateside now, laundering through real estate flips in Florida. The merger? Eurotech CEO had ties, cousin by marriage, blood by business. I texted Marco, connect Volkov to Eurotech. Quietly, his reply, thumbs up emoji, followed by a file drop. Screenshots of emails, grainy but gold, Dad pitching Volkov as a silent partner in the deal, promising Sterling's audit as cover. The flip again, Dad wasn't just scheming against me, he was playing four-dimensional chess with mobsters, feds, and his own daughter as pawns. That evening, instead of Dad, I met Lena at a dive in Williamsburg, craft IPAs and exposed brick. The kind of spot where tech bros nursed grudges over foosball. Lena Ortiz, my ride-or-die from Fordham days, now a cybersec whiz at a boutique firm in Flatiron. Latina like me. Firecracker energy. The sister I never had.
Eva.
This is nuclear, she said, scrolling her tablet over greasy wings.
Your pops is balls deep in this.
But leaking it piecemeal? You're gonna get burned. Worth it, I said, clinking bottles. He took 8 months from me. It's interest. She eyed me, concern creasing her forehead. And if he flips it back on you, that juvie shit, he could unseal it. Paint you as unstable. Unstable. The word clawed at old wounds. Juvie had been hell. Bunk beds that smelled of bleach and regret. Girls with eyes like shattered glass. Trading stories of absent dads and bad choices. I'd kept my head down. Aced the library's SAT prep books. Dreamed of corner offices where no one could touch me. But the stigma? It lingered. A shadow resume that made recruiters pause. Dad knew that. Weaponized it. He won't, I lied. More to myself. Not if I strike first, Lena sighed. But helped anyway, hacking a backdoor into VicFam's cloud, ethical gray area. But revenge don't play by rules. By midnight, I had it, audio files.
Dad.
Voice tinny over a burner phone. Haggling with Volkov's lieutenant. The girl's clean, my daughter. She signs off on the projections. We're out the funds clean.
No traces.
My blood ran cold. He'd been planning to drag me under from the jump, using the job sabotage as cover if I balked. Betrayal squared, not just framing a kid, but pimping her out as an adult. I forwarded the audio to Hargrove anonymously, with a note, more where this came from. Keep it quiet for now. Sleep came in fits, haunted by dreams of Mom's grave, Dad's shadow looming. Woke to rain lashing my window, the city a gray smear. Sterling that day was electric, whispers in the break room. Hargrove's door sealed like a tomb. My inbox a summons.
Eva.
My office. 10 sharp. He was pacing when I arrived, jowls quivering.
Seat.
No coffee offered. This merger's unraveling. Feds sniffing. Volkov's people rumbling threats. And your father. He stopped, rubbing temples. He's denying everything. But the evidence, it's damning. Says you're framing him. Out for blood.
Blood.
If only. He's lying, I said flatly. Victor's always been a chameleon, loyal one day, snake the next. But I'm here to help. Give me access to the audit logs. I'll prove it. Hargrove studied me, weighing. Controversial decision incoming. Trust the betrayed daughter or the silver-tongued fixer. 48 hours, he grunted. Deliver. Or we're both out. I nodded. Pulse thundering. Out meant bankruptcy. Blacklisting. But in? A shot at dismantling Dad brick by brick. The next 48 blurred into code and caffeine. Lena crashed in my place. Laptops glowing like campfires. We traced the funds. Dad's shells funneling Volkov cash into Eurotech via Sterling's escrow. One wrong wire, and the whole deal imploded, taking Dad's credibility with it. But the twist? A wild card file buried deep. Juvie records. Unsealed by some hack. Dad's doing? Or Volkov's muscle? Digging dirt? Marco called at 3 a.m. Eva. Heads up. Volkov's got a tail on you. Black SUV. Plate bogus.
Get out.
I peered through blinds, yep. Idling across the street. Exhaust curling like smoke signals. Heart slamming. I grabbed Lena. Bolted down the fire escape into the alley's muck. Rain soaked us as we piled into her Prius, peeling out toward the BQE. Straight to the cops? She gasped.
No.
Dad first. We hit his Rego Park walk-up at dawn, pounding doors till a bleary neighbor cracked his. Dad answered in boxers and a wife-beater, reeking of scotch. Eva? What the? I shoved past, Lena flanking like backup. Volkov's men. Outside my place. You sicken? His eyes widened. Genuine shock? Or Oscar-worthy?
Jesus.
No. I cut ties months ago. This is fallout from the tip-off. Liar. I slapped the tablet down. Audio playing, his voice. Wheedling. He crumpled, sliding down the wall. It was for us, he mumbled. The big score. You could have been rich. Eva. Instead.
You.
You hate me.
Hate.
Too clean a word. It was a chasm, carved by years of his flips, protector to predator, father to fraudster. 8 months. Dad. For your greed. And now this. He looked up, tears tracking grime. I know.
God.
I know. Let me fix it. Call Volkov off. A crash downstairs. Footsteps. Lena bolted the door, but it shuddered under a boot. Eva, Dad hissed. Back exit. We fled through the kitchen. Into the yard's chain-link maze. Gunshots? No, just threats barked in thick accents. We lost them in the subway snarl, emerging in Manhattan soaked and shaking. Back at Sterling. I dumped it all on Hargrove. Logs.
Audio.
Even a blurry photo of the SUV from Lena's dashcam. Pull the merger, I urged. Or Volkov crashes it with bodies.
He did.
Press conference at noon. Due diligence issues. Stocks dipped. But Sterling survived. Dad vanished. Fled to Miami. Marco said. But Volkov's net was tightening. I got the promotion, VP of Risk. Toasted with Lena at a rooftop bar. City lights winking like conspirators. But as champagne fizzed, my phone buzzed, unknown number. Dad's voice. Ragged. You win.
Kiddo.
But it's not over. Volkov knows your name now.
Click.
The tables had turned.
All right.
But whose hand was on the wheel? Word count, 1008. File 3. The promotion party was a blur of handshakes and high fives. The kind of corporate bacchanal where champagne flows like it's bottomless and egos inflate faster than the balloon arches. Sterling's rooftop terrace, overlooking the Hudson's inky ribbon, buzzed with brokers in bespoke suits and assistants in knockoff Louboutins. All toasting, Eva the Savior, like I just brokered world peace instead of dodging mobsters. Hargrove clapped my shoulder, breath hot with scotch. Your ice. Ramirez. Family drama be damned. This firm's yours.
Ice.
If he only knew how thin the crackle under my feet. I smiled for the cameras, posed with the exec team, but my eyes scanned the crowd. Paranoia, a new accessory. Right up there with my pearl earrings. Dad's call echoed. Volkov knows your name. Not a threat.
Exactly.
A promise. Lena pulled me aside near the tapas spread, her dress a splash of crimson against the neutral palette of finance bros. You good? That was some cowboy shit last night. Good as gold.
Lie.
My hands trembled on the flute stem, adrenaline crash hitting like a hangover. Just need sleep. And maybe a Glock. She snorted, but her eyes were serious.
Get both.
Marco says Volkov's lieutenant, guy named Yuri, booked a flight to JFK. Direct from Moscow.
Moscow.
The word conjured for hats and frostbite, not the sweltering subway platforms I knew.
But Yuri? From the audio files.
His voice was the gravelly counterpoint to Dad's silk, threats laced with accidents and loose ends. If he was stateside, Dad's vanishing act had lit the fuse. I bailed early, citing a migraine, truth adjacent. Cab to Astoria. Windows fogged with my breath. The apartment felt like a cage, mail slot stuffed with junk. Fridge humming loneliness. I poured bourbon neat. Scrolled Marco's latest drop. Dad's trail. ATM cam in Miami. Time stamped yesterday. Him looking over his shoulder like Orpheus glancing back. But the real gem? A encrypted email chain between him and Hargrove, pre-merger pleasantries turning sour. Victor. Keep the girl out, Hargrove had written. She's too green. Dad's reply. Trust me. She'll fold like her mother.
Mom.
The mention twisted like a gut punch. She'd been the soft one, baking flan on Sundays, humming Selena while Dad spun his tales. Cancer took her fast, but not before she whispered to me in the hospital. Watch him. Mija. He's got shadows.
Shadows ignorat.
Too young. Too trusting.
Now,
Those shadows had teeth. I forwarded the email to Lena, Hargrove on it. Her ping. Digging. Sleep. Eva. Tomorrow, we end this. Sleep?
Ha.
Dawn found me at the kitchen table. Laptop open to flight trackers. Yuri's inbound. Wheels down at 11 a.m. Plan coalescing. Intercept Dad before Yuri did.
Call him out.
Force a confession on record. Controversial? Hell yes, teaming with the man who'd sold me out to save his skin. But pure? In a world of grays. It was the least filthy option. I drove south in my beat-up Civic. 95 a parking lot of minivans and semis. Radio droning met scores like normalcy existed. Miami by nightfall. Humidity, slapping like a wet rag. The condo complex. Pastel stucco. Palm fronds rustling secrets. Dad's unit. For B. Light bleeding under the door. I knocked soft 3 raps. Our old signal. He cracked it. Chain still latched. Face gaunt under the hall's jaundiced glow. Eva? Christ.
Get in.
Inside, chaos. Suitcases half-packed. Ashtrays overflowing. A Glock, real one, on the coffee table. You shouldn't be here, he hissed, bolting the door. Volkov's dogs are everywhere. Sit, I commanded, pulling my phone, voice recorder app live. He did, deflating into the sagging couch. Why me? Dad? The job. The frame-up. Now this. Was I ever more than a shield? His eyes, blue like mine, but bloodshot, flickered. The flip incoming. I could feel it. It wasn't like that. The juvie. Yeah. I fucked up.
Panicked.
But the merger? That was redemption.
For us.
Volkov promised clean slate if I delivered. Delivered me, bitter as bile. He nodded.
Slow.
You were leverage.
Tough love.
To get you on board. But Hargrove, he's the snake. Knew about the Russians from day one. Fed me to them for a cut. Hargrove? The loyalist? My mind reeled another layer. Betrayal fractal. Proof. Dad rummaged a drawer.
Tossed a USB.
Emails. He's the one who tipped Volkov about you. After your little HR stunt. Wants you out. Me buried. I pocketed it. Pulse racing. Trust him? Risky as Russian roulette. But the audio we'd play in court?
Gold.
We go to the feds. Together. He laughed. Hollow. And Jivy reopens? I'm 62. Eva. Prison's a death sentence. Coward. I spat. Always flipping. A knock sharp. Insistent. Dad froze. Yuri. Panic surged. I grabbed the gun, cold. Heavy, while he unlatched the door. Yuri, mid-40s. Buzz cut. Suit straining over muscle. Eyes like chipped ice. 2 goons flanked. Tattoos peeking from cuffs. Victor, he growled. Accent thick as borscht. Time to pay. Dad stammered. Yuri. Wait, deal's off. Feds know. Yuri's gaze slid to me.
Ah.
The daughter. Leverage. He stepped in. Goons fanning out. Air thick with cologne and menace. I raised the Glock. Hand steady from years of range time, Lena's hobby. Drag me along. Back off. Or I drop you. And the cops get the full show. Yuri chuckled.
Low. Brave.
Like father. But he paused, calculating. Dad? Silent. watching like a ghost. The standoff stretched, seconds elastic. Controversial choice. Shoot and damn the fallout. Or bluff. USB in my pocket, I lied. Your whole op, feds have it. Walk. Or we all burn. Yuri's eyes narrowed.
A beat.
Then, nod to his men. We talk later. Victor. They melted into the hall. Door clicking shut. Dad exhaled, slumping. You saved me. Don't, I snapped, holstering the gun in my waistband. This changes nothing.
Feds. Now.
He agreed. Broken. We drove to the field office in Coral Gables. Fluorescent purgatory. Agents tough Latina like me, named Reyes, took statements. USB devoured by their machines. Hargrove's name dropped like a bomb. Volkov's empire sketched in whiteboard scrawl. By dawn. Warrants issued. Dad in custody, protective.
For now. Me?
Witness, Reyes said. But stay sharp. These wolves bite back. Flight home. Turbulence mirroring my gut. Hargrove called midair, voicemail. Eva. We need to talk. It's not what you think. I deleted it. At Sterling. The office was a hornet's nest, feds swarming. Merger autopsy underway. Hargrove cornered me in the lobby. Face ashen. Your father, lying sack. I protected you. Protected? I laughed. Venomous. By selling me to Volkov?
He blanched.
It was containment. Victor approached me, begged for cover. I strung him along. Fed the feds intel, through back channels. You were never in. Leverage, I finished. Again. The flip, Hargrove. Not villain, but enabler. Gray as Dad's conscience. Security hauled him as cuffs clicked. I watched. Hollow victory.
Promotion?
On ice. But the real win? Dad's trial looming. Juvie truth unearthed. That night, Lena crashed with pizza and pity. You okay?
No. Truth.
Finally. But free? Close enough. Yet, as sirens wailed distant, my phone lit, unknown. Yuri's voice. Silk over steel. Miss Ramirez. Your father talks too much. We meet. Or next time. No bluff. The tables wobbled. My move. Freedom's a fickle bitch, tastes like cheap Merlot 1 minute. Turns to vinegar the next. A week post-Miami, I was back in the grind at Sterling. Desk relocated to a secure floor with keycard locks and security shadows that made me feel more prisoner than VP. The merger? Dead. Eurotech suing for breach. Volkov's fingerprints smudged but smoking. Dad? Holed up in a federal safe house upstate. Spilling guts to Reyes for immunity crumbs. Hargrove? Suspended pending investigation. His office gutted like a crime scene. Me? Hero in whispers. Pariah in emails. Eva's the whistleblower, some said admiringly. She's why we're not Enron 2.0. Others? Family vendetta. Who's next on her hit list? The divide cracked the firm. Old guard loyal to Hargrove. Young guns riding my coattails. Lunchroom debates turned tense. Forks clinking like dueling sabers. Lena called it schadenfreude asymmetry. You flipped the script on your pops. Now the board's flipping on each other. Poetic. Poetic? More like prelude to purge. I ignored it. Buried in depositions, reliving Dad's audio. Yuri's glare. The Glock's weight. Nightmares looped, juvie bars morphing into condo doors. Mom's whisper twisting to Yuri's laugh. Then, the invite, black tie gala at the Met. Sterling's annual schmooze fest for donors and darlings. Your presence expected, Hargrove's old assistant emailed. Keynote on risk management. Irony dripped. I went, black sheath dress, hair pinned fierce, heels that could double as stilettos. Arm candy, none. Just me, a clutch with pepper spray, and a wire from Reyes, off-book's favor, she owed me for the Volkov lead. The Met's great hall glittered, chandeliers dripping light like molten gold, air humming Vivaldi and venture capital chatter. I worked the room, champagne flute as prop, nodding at partners who'd ghosted me last week.
Then,
Yuri, tuxedoed like a Bond villain, glass in hand, eyes locking mine across the crowd.
no goons.
Just poise. He approached slow, parting suits like Moses. MS. Ramirez. A word. My wire itched under silk. Mr. Yuri Ivanov. Charmed. Handshake firm.
Dry.
We retreated to a alcove. Marble cool against my back. Your father disappointing. Talks. But no spine. Spine costs, I said. Voice level. What's your play? He sipped. Amused. Play? Business. Victor owed, still owes. Feds freeze accounts.
But you.
Smile. Wolfish. You have access. Sterling's remnants, liquidate quiet. Route to my friends. Debt cleared. Family spared. Family. The word again. Laced with threat. Dad's safe house wasn't bulletproof, neither was mine. Controversial crossroads. Play ball. Buy time? Or burn it down? Risk the blaze? And if no, I probed. His shrug. Elegant dismissal. Accidents happen. Gala like this crowded. Tragic. The wire caught it all. Reyes texting later. Got him. Sting in motion. But Yuri? He knew. As he melted back into the throng, a whisper trailed. Choose wisely. Eva. Blood's thicker than ink.
Blood. Dad's.
Mine mingled in that juvie lie. I fled the gala early. Cab weaving through rain-slick streets. Mind a storm. Home. Message light blinking.
Dad.
Voice cracked.
Eva.
They got to me through lawyers. Say you'll handle it.
Or.
Juvie files go public.
Full.
With your name dragged eternal. Eternal. The kid in me whimpered, stigma revived. Career cremated. But the woman? She plotted. Dawn. Meeting with Reyes at a midtown diner. Eggs runny. Coffee bitter. Yuri's baiting, she said. Flipping through transcripts. Wants you as mule. We flip it, you agree. Where the wire deeper. Bust the network. Risky, I murmured. Dad's pushing too. Immunity for me folding. She nodded. Cop eyes weary. Your call. Hero or hostage?
Hero.
I'd chased it since juvie. Clawing ledgers to prove I wasn't the monster he made. But hostage? That was Dad's legacy, chained to his sins. I do it. Decision made. Controversial as hell. Ally with feds. Betray Dad's plea. Dangle myself as bait. No sides clean. Just survival's razor edge. The setup. Fake meet with Yuri at a boathouse in Brooklyn, neutral ground. Dawn fog off the East River. Lena wired me triple, body, phone, back up in my earring. Don't die, she whispered, hugging fierce. Or I'll haunt your ass. Yuri arrived solo, trench coat flapping like raven wings. Decision? I handed a thumb drive, forged transfer docs. Sterling funds rerouted to a dummy account. Lena's magic. Debt paid. Walk. He plugged it into a sleek laptop.
Scanning. Nod.
Clever girl. But as he leaned in, too close, cologne cloying, his phone buzzed. Face darkened. Trap. Sirens wailed distant. Feds closing. Yuri's hand shot to his waist. Gun glinting. You bitch. Time fractured. I dove behind crates, heart hammering, as shots cracked his. Then Rhea's team bursting from the mist. Chaos. Splintered wood. Acrid smoke. Yuri roaring curses in Russian. A bullet grazed my arm, fire line. Warm trickle. I fired back. Glock barking, Rhea's loner. Clipping his shoulder. He staggered. Eyes locking mine, hate pure. Primal. Victor dies for this. Cuffed and dragged. He spat. Family curse. You and him. Rotten branch. Reyes hauled me up. Medics swarming. Got him. Network crumbles. But Yuri's words? Venom in veins. Dad's safe house raided that hour, not feds. But Yuri's remnant crew. Payback swift. Gunfire reports. 1 body. Victor Ramirez. 2 to the chest. Dead before dawn. I crumpled in the ambulance. Arm bandaged. Soul shredded.
Dad gone.
My doing? Indirect. But the wire. The bait. Blood on hands. Lena met me at the ER. Tears unshed. You won. Eva. Won? The word echoed hollow. Press hailed me. Whistleblower daughter dismantles crime ring. Sterling reinstated my title. Bonus fat. But mirrors showed a ghost, eyes hollow. Arm scarred. Twist shadow loomed. Dad's final letter. Smuggled via lawyer. Knew it'd end like this. Forgive?
Nah.
But proud. You turned tables I couldn't. Love. Always.
Love.
Debatable as divorce. Happy ending? If crumbling empires counted. But Yuri's trial? He flipped, testified against Volkov for a deal. And in cross, dropped the bomb. Victor didn't frame her alone. Hargrove pulled strings, fed the porn files, covered for kickbacks. Kept the girl quiet. Hargrove. Enabler supreme. My ally?
Or architect.
The divide deepened. Readers, hell. Me picking sides. Was Dad the monster? Or Hargrove the puppeteer? I the avenger? Or just another mark? Tables turned.
All right.
But the spin never stopped. The courtroom in Foley Square smelled like polished oak and old grudges. The kind that seep into the walls after decades of verdicts carved in stone. Yuri's trial was a circus, cameras flashing outside like paparazzi lightning. Inside, a gallery packed with reporters. Russian expats in ill-fitting suits. And one ghost. Me. Front row. Black dress a shroud. Arms sling off now. But the scar itched under silk. A reminder that wounds heal crooked. Hargrove took the stand first. Post-plea deal. Immunity for the big fish. Volkov himself. Extradited and raging in a Manhattan cell. I acted in the firm's interest, he testified. Voice steady as a sermon. Victor approached with a Russian angle, promising returns. When Eva uncovered it. guided her. For protection. Protection. The words slithered out, met with murmurs. My lawyer, Shark from the Bar Association. Pro bono for the hero whistleblower. Crossed hard. Guided? Or groomed? Emails show you planting the juvie files. Mr. Hargrove. Covering your tracks. Objection overruled. Gallery gasped as exhibits flashed. Timestamps linking Hargrove's IP to Dad's frame job server. The flip. Final and furious Hargrove. Not just enabler, but co-conspirator. He'd bankrolled Dad's initial scam. Funneled construction kickbacks through Mom's life insurance payout. Stolen. Tainted. When auditors closed in, they pinned it on me, teen scapegoat. Easy mark. Keep the Ramirez name clean, one email read. Girl takes the heat. We rebuild. Rebuild. On my broken back. I gripped the bench, knuckles bone white. As Hargrove crumbled. It was Victor's idea. I tried to stop. Liar. Dad's voice echoed in my head. But he was ash now. Funeral a quiet affair in Queens. Just Lena and a priest who droned too long. Yuri watched from the dock, smirking faint. His testimony had cracked it open. Hargrove called me after the boathouse. Begged deal. Testify. Get Volkov. In return, silence on the old fraud. But the girl. Shrug. She burned it all. Burned. The word hung. Pyre for illusions. Verdict. Hargrove guilty. Conspiracy. Fraud. Accessory to endangerment.
10 years.
Minimum. Volkov. Life. No parole. Yuri?
5.
With deportation chaser. Outside. Rain sheeted down. Media swarm like locusts.
Eva.
Vengeance or justice? One shouted. Mike thrusting. I paused under the awning. Water pooling at my heels. Both, I said. Neither.
Just. Done. Done.
The word tasted like closure, but felt like cliff edge. Back at Sterling, rebranded Sterling Integrity post-scandal, I sat in Hargrove's old office. View unchanged, Empire State piercing clouds. Promotion to partner. Board seat offered. Power. Finally untainted? Lena popped champagne that night. Our rooftop perch in Astoria. City a constellation below. To Eva Ramirez, Avenger. Survivor. Badass. I clinked. But bubbles soured. Twist is... Lena. What if I became him? Flipping tables. Burning bridges. Dad's revenge in my veins. She squeezed my hand.
Nah.
You chose light. Messy. But light.
Light.
Debatable. Weeks blurred. Therapy sessions unpacking juvie ghosts. A memoir deal from a hungry agent. Daughter of deceit. Raw. Real. Public. Divided. Op-eds flew. Eva's triumph. Feminist reckoning versus vigilante justice. Mob ties taint whistleblower. Forums raged. Reddit threads dissecting my cold ambition. Twitter polls on who hurt who worst.
Me?
I walked the gray. Visited Mom's grave. Queens hillside wild with weeds. He paid.
Mama.
We both did. Wind whispered back. Or maybe just traffic hum. One loose end. Dad's USB. Stashed in my safe. Final files, not crimes. But confessions. Audio diary. Voice weary. Eva, if you hear this. I lied about everything. The frame, not panic.
Greed.
Wanted you out independent, away from my mess. Hargrove pushed, but I pulled the trigger. Juvie was my gift-wrapped poison. Toughen you, break you free.
Cruel? Yeah.
But love's a bastard. Love. The ultimate flip, sacrifice masked as sin. Or delusion. I burned the drive. Ashes in the Hudson at midnight. Current claiming secrets. Ending? No tidy bow. Sterling thrived. I led audits with iron fist in velvet glove. Dated a barista, irony's wink, simple. No shadows. But nightmares lingered. Yuri's eyes. Dad's tears. Mom's fade. Happy? In fragments, sunrise jogs along the East River. Lena's laugh. A world where I called shots. Tragic? In echoes, betrayal scar. The what-ifs of a father unfractured. Twist sparks debate. Was Dad's love redemption? Or final con? Hargrove the devil? Or dupe? Me the phoenix? Or just flames? Tables turned. But in America's grind, hustle, hurt, heal, the spin's eternal. Yours to judge.